Hello everyone, my name is Ankit Jain and I welcome you all to my channel Tech Journey with Ankit. In today's video, we will try to understand what is the effective way of handling the pagination using the Apex cursor. In this video, we'll try to understand how we should write down the Apex logic in such a way we should not be hitting the governor limits frequently while using the Apex cursor. Moreover, we'll also try to understand what all the key practices that you should be following while building that logic as well. How you can leverage the platform cache also, I will show you in this particular video. Now, before we get started, in case you folks like to have one-to-one connect with me or want to discuss any Salesforce queries that you do have, you can switch to the top mid with the link available in the video description. And here you will get the different options. So based on your requirement, you can book a slot for 15 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, as well as the 60 minutes. And we can have a discussion on any kind of a query that you do have with respect to the Salesforce. Moreover, you can also explore few of my Udemy courses. One of the course here is the Data Cloud course, which talks everything that you should be knowing about the data cloud from the very basics. In case you don't have any prior knowledge, that's completely fine. With the just basic admin knowledge, you can go and take this course and understand all the nuances related to the data cloud. Again, this course has been designed for the no code development. So in case you are only having the admin background, you don't know how to use the Apex or the triggers, that's completely fine. Still, you can go and get a better understanding of the data cloud. There will be few videos which talks about the Apex in the data cloud, but again, you can skip those videos because those are completely optional. Moreover, you can also explore my another course that is the real world project. This course has been designed for the admins and the developers who have learned the Salesforce but don't have any exposure to work on the project. With the help of this particular course, they can go and build an enterprise level project with the help of which they can manage the car rental management system. Moreover, in this particular course, I have covered the specific frameworks like the error and the logging framework that can be leveraged or that most of the enterprises do use whenever they are working on the projects. So definitely you will get a better understanding of the Salesforce in case you guys go and finish this particular project. Now switching to the part of the Apex cursor, if you folks recall in the last video when we discussed each and everything about the Apex cursor, I specifically asked you to remember key limits that we should have while maintaining the Apex cursor. Again, let me first walk you through those important limits and then we will move to the implementation part. The first limit here is you can fetch 50 million records with the help of one single cursor. Another key limit that you should always be remembering is 100 million records that you can fetch per day using the all the cursors. Now the third limit, which is mostly failing whenever I have seen people are doing the Apex cursor with the pagination, that is the 10,000 cursors per day. Let's take one scenario. For example, in case in your org, there are 20,000 users and now you are using the Apex cursor. Now, for example, each user every day navigate to the lead dashboard where they go and check the different types of leads. Now, if everyone started creating their own cursor for the navigation, there's a 100% possibility that you will be hitting the limits of the Apex cursor. Now, this is the point where you have to evaluate is cursor is the good solution for your problem statement. Moreover, you have to also go and understand with the business, do all these 20,000 users need to access have this bulk amount of data or not. Again, if the all the questions are coming up or answers are coming up in the case of the cursor, then you have to think how you can design your cursor so that it can work for the larger audience as well. Because if 20,000 users, if you will be creating the one cursor for each user, and in case they are navigating to the same dashboard or same table or same lightning web component again and again, then there's a high possibility that your component will break, right? So with the help of all these considerations, let's see how we can go and design our Apex cursor. Now, let me go and create one class. Let me go and remove this code. I will show you how to write down this code one by one. So very first thing, I want this particular component should be invoked from the Lightning Web Component. So I'm making it at the rate or enabled cacheable equal to true. Here I will be defining, let's say, one method, public static. I want to return the list of lead. I'm giving the method name as leads. And there are two parameters that I am expecting. First one, from which position you want to fetch the record. For example, you're on the first position or on the first page, you want the record should be coming up from the first position. But in case you're on the second page, you want record should be coming up from the 11th position. So this is the parameter which will define from which position the record should be coming. And now the second parameter that I am putting up here is the number of records, which will define how many number of records that should be returned. We already understand in the previous scenario that how we can go and create the Apex cursor, right? So to create the Apex cursor, what we understand here is we have to use the database.cursor method. With the help of this method, database.cursor, we will be creating the cursor. So here I'll be using the database.cursor by using the cursor. And we also discussed in the last video, whenever we have to go and return the fetch the records from the cursor, we go and use the cursor.fetch. And you will get this kind of a sample code in the Salesforce documentation as well. Now, is this code good? Answer is yes or answer is no, both. Why it is good? Because it will solve your job. If you go and test it, definitely it will work as you are expecting. However, there's a high possibility that with this particular code, you will be hitting the governor limit sooner or the later. Now, why? Because this is an aura enabled, right? Every time if this method is getting called, what you are doing, you are creating the new cursor. We already discussed that we do only have the limit of 10,000 Apex cursor. But if you go and creating the cursor again and again for the same requirement, eventually you will be hitting the limit. Even though you do have hardly 500 users, if all are doing the same thing, for example, you are navigating to the multiple pages, every time you will be creating the same cursor again and again, right? So eventually you will be hitting the governor limit and this code is not a scalable code. Now, how we can make this particular code a scalable? Now, there are two ways we can do this. Number one, what we can do, we can return the cursor to the Lightning Web component. So here, in addition to returning the lead records, we go and create the wrapper class. In the wrapper class, we go and return the cursor. So next time, when this particular cursor or this particular method has been called, this cursor has been written. Is the solution good? Definitely yes. The solution will work as expected. The limitation of this solution here is, for example, in case there are two users who wants to fetch the similar kind of a table, then or similar kind of a data, then you will be creating the two cursors for the two different users. That is the only limitation, but otherwise for one single user, this works very well without any limit. Now, another option that you can think of where you can go and leverage the concept of platform caching. So what you can do as a part of next concept, you can go and leverage the platform cache. Platform cache, it's a kind of a utility that has been provided in the Salesforce using which you can go and store your record, into which you can go and store your cursor and later you can go and fetch your cursor as well. So you can go and take the help of the platform cache. There are two types of platform cache that can be created. First one here is the org cache. This is something which will be shared by multiple users. This is a global cache, which is shared by all the users as well as the org, right? And you can also take the help of the session cache as well. Now, this is the cache which is shared across all the users in a single session. For example, if you are storing something into the session cache, you can access anytime. Not what I mean from the anytime is within the 48 hours from that particular cache memory. So what I will be doing in the today's video here is I will be using the session cache. If you want to use the org cache, that's completely fine because I'm working for one single user. I'm going for the session cache. But in case you want to share that cursor with multiple users in the org, then definitely you can go and think about the org cache here. Okay, now how to create the cache? Let's try to understand this. So to create the cache, eh, let me go back to the org. So to create the cache, you have to navigate to the setup menu. And from the setup menu here, you have to go and look for the cache. I have already created one platform cache in my org. So what you have to do, it's very simple. To create the cache, you simply have to click on this new platform cache partition. What I have done for this video here is I have created the default partition or the default partition cache, but you can go with the specific platform cache as well. Only thing is the way you are accessing the platform cache in the Apex will be different. With the help of AI, you will get lots of examples how you can use the platform cache with a specific none in case you don't want to go for the default one. Then here you have to specify how much allocation that you want to give. Currently, we are working on the free tag, so we do have the limited allocation here. For example, here you can see I do have the available here is the 2 MB. You can decide how much MB that you want to allocate. For example, here if you want to allocate a provider free as the 1 MB, you can go and select the 1 MB of cache from here. So out of two, one will be remaining. I have already created one platform cache, a default platform cache. Here you can see the default partition has been checked. So it's a default platform cache that has been created. Here I have allocated 1 MB already. The rest of the things are same here as well. I hope you got an idea how I have created the platform cache. Now let's try to understand how you can access that particular cache in the Apex. So it's very simple. Whenever you have to access the cache, you have to always remember it works in the form of the map collection. Like in the case of map, you go and add something into the cache with the help of put. Similarly, whenever you have to check if something is available in the cache or not, you will use the dot contains method. So rather than I go and use the logic something like this, let me take out this logic and here I will be putting my logic something like this. Now I will explain you the code line by line. I hope you will get a better clarity how I am fetching the records with the help of the cache now. Sorry, let me go and copy the code correctly. Mhm. Right. So here I go and put this logic. Now here I am having the try block. Here I am checking the start position is not equal to null, number of records are not equal to null. Then I am defining the variable of type database dot cursor. After that, here I am checking whether the cache in my cache lead cursor is the key available or not. Why I'm checking for the lead cursor? Because in case the lead cursor is not available, then I am using the database dot get cursor method, right? And in the database dot get cursor, I am getting the cursor and then I am storing the cursor in the cache. So what particular line will do? This will go and store the cursor in the session cache, right? And by using the put method, I am adding it. This is the name of the key that I am giving, and this is the value that I am putting. Definitely, you can generate the more dynamic key. You can put all those logic, all those good practices that you want to do. Moreover, this is where I am putting the I am accessing the cache here. So by doing this, you are accessing the default cache. Again, the syntax will change in case you are not going for the default cache. Now the next thing that I am doing here is here I am getting the total number of records from the cache because I have to go and put a summary of how many records that are available in the cursor. I'm using here the cursor dot get record. Now I need to handle the pagination. So I need to always go and check how many records are remaining. So here I am using the remaining is equal to total minus the start position. And if the remaining is less than zero, that means there are no remaining records. We go and return an empty list. But in case I am getting some number, then I am getting the minimum value, right? How many number of records that I have to load. For example, in case maximum number of records that I will be loading here is the 10, but my remaining records is 15. So the count value will be coming here as 10. Or take another scenario. If the number of records that I have to load here is the 10, but the remaining value that I am getting here is the value 5. The number of records that I have to load here is the 5. So accordingly, I'll be capturing the count here. And finally, here I will be returning the list of records, right? So I'm returning the list. I'm getting the records from the cursor and returning it back to the UI. This is the key logic that I am writing down in the Apex. The rest of the things, how to display the records, I have also generated this code with the help of the AI. You can also do it very easily. There is nothing rocket science in this particular code. I'm simply running the spinner to check whether the loading is processing or not. If yes, I am using the lightning data table to go and display the records. I'm having the button group where I'm putting the three buttons in the footer, like I have shown you here, right? These are the three buttons: previous button, next button, and the refresh button. I am making the previous button disabled in case I am on the first page. I am disabling the next button in case I am on the last bench. And on the click of the refresh button, I am refreshing the particular table and I'm taking the user to the first page back, right? In case there are no records available, then I'm showing the message here, no open leads has been found. Coming up to the JavaScript file, this is where I'm defining the column structure, loading the records, calling this particular method, right? And whatever the result that I am getting, I am making the first one as the hyperlink, right? So that's why here you can see the lead URL is coming up. And all those are fancy things we have already covered multiple times how to design the data table. So I'll not be going into more detail into the Lightning Web Component part. In case you folks wants to access this particular code, it is available in the TopMet LWC guide. So whenever you go to the TopMet, you will have another option of the digital product where you can explore the different digital products available on the channel, like the admin guide, fundamental guide, LWC notes, interview questions, 500 plus interview question. So today's code will be available with the LWC notes and the code along with this LWC component and the class that I have created. That's the only thing that you have to do, nothing else. And once you go and deploy your changes, you will have the component available, something like this, using which you can go and load the record. I hope you got the concept clearly. The more important part that you have to understand why we are using the cache here, right? The reason being we want to avoid the limit, and the key limit that we want to avoid here is how many number of cursors that are available per day, because the limit is only 10,000. So we have to use that particular limit very wisely, either by storing it into the session cache or by returning the cursor to the LWC. Do let me know in case you got the understanding of how you can use the cursor in the pagination. In case you do have any question, any queries, please let me know.